Here is something amazing that we are seeing apparently from the early election returns, which again aren't final, but take a look at this. The president actually performed better this year than he did in 2016 in counties with high COVID-19 death rates, according to an internal analysis from Reuters. Trump made a 4% jump in votes, increasing from 50.1% in 2016 to 54.1% in 2020 in areas highly impacted by the coronavirus. He also won the majority of votes in states with the highest COVID-19 death rates, including Florida and Texas. Florida, by the way, where I lost a family member, not just being affected by the lack of leadership by Donald Trump, but also by Ron DeSantis, who hasn't issued a statewide mask mandate since COVID-19 hit back in March. Ron DeSantis didn't even seem to appear to know how to put on a mask as of several months ago. And he is a Trump bootlicker if there ever was one. It's possible that without Trump, Ron DeSantis maybe would have done something, pretended to care about the pandemic, but he didn't, and it didn't seem to matter because Donald Trump, he actually rose in the vote count even though he lost supporters to the pandemic. Like literally, they're dead now. He's doing better. So Malika, I've been sort of wanting to talk briefly about this since the election. I think the fact that the pandemic didn't sink Trump is maybe one of the most amazing things in an election ever. Like what a coup by Fox News that his base didn't care. Like we lost 230,000 plus people. We're losing more now than we were 2 months ago. And it doesn't appear to have hurt him. In fact, in some areas, it seems like somehow it helped him.
Yeah, I mean, I think that is consistent to how things work with the Republican Party, though, where we already know that. I mean, and I think it's important too to make some distinctions because I think you have some people who might just be anti-establishment and they see Donald Trump as an anti-establishment figure where they think that any sort of government infringement into their lives is like worthy of a conspiracy, like a conspiracy theory, or that it is, an infringement of, their constitutional rights and liberties. And so I think you have some folks who are less well off, who are just kind of going with the flow based on their belief that government is corrupted and Donald Trump is, an outsider still. I think you also have a lot of Republicans who benefit. So I'd be very interested in the data on who exactly supported him, because if you look at Donald Trump's support, he has gained, or not necessarily gained, but he has more support amongst people who make $100,000 or more over Joe Biden. So it could also be a scenario where you have people who are in those communities and they're in those counties where they're Republican, but they're not necessarily the ones who are making $100,000 and more, who just want to open up business because those are their businesses. Yeah. Those are their small businesses. They're the ones with the late model luxury vehicles who want to get back to work so that they can put other people back to work.
Yeah.
So I'd be really interested in just seeing exactly the breakdown of where he gained support in those COVID districts, because everyone doesn't necessarily have the same incentives and perspectives about it.
I want to ask you a question. This is something I've been thinking about for literally months now. Obviously, you have the anti-lockdown protests. You have the people who think that, as you said earlier, that wearing a mask is as bad as being enslaved. So those people are, they're going to Panera and they're shouting at people and all that. If Donald Trump, like the pandemic hits, let's say that he in theory had made the calculation that a pandemic killing 250,000 people is bad and that he should do something about it. And let's say he had come out in favor of mask wearing instantly. He always wore a mask, he told people to wear masks, he told his governors, you got to encourage people to wear masks. If Fox News had picked that up and said, we're gonna support the president, we think wearing masks is awesome, social distancing is great. I know that you've reported in a number of states. I don't know how much that is with talking with the Trump supporters. Do you think that those anti-lockdown and anti-mask protests and the opposition, would it be as big? Like what percentage of those, I know this is all rough, it's speculative. What percentage of his base do you think was just looking to him to tell them what to do? And which are people who are like, seriously, government isn't supposed to be infringed on me in any way. So no matter what Trump said, they were gonna hate this thing.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't. That's not something that I've looked at. That's not something that I've studied. But I would assume that it's a fair amount. I think it's a critical mass of people who probably would be affected, or who would have actually followed some norms of having basic, like following up basic health guidance if Donald Trump had done that. So I could speculate as much as the next person. I think it would have helped more than more than it would have hurt. But who knows?
Yeah. I don't know. I just, considering the cost, considering how many lives have been lost, the continued economic damage of this, I think it's so important. I really do wonder. I know there was like CNN where it was asking some Trump fans outside of a Trump rally, like, they gave you a mask, why don't you wear it? What if Trump were to say, and they said he can think whatever he wants, I'm not wearing the mask. I wonder how representative that is of Trump fans.
Yeah, and now that I think about it, I think that, again, this is something where people needed to find something to be mad at. So they needed to find a source of rage. So maybe their source of rage would have come from somewhere else, but this was an opportunity to have a grievance because, all these Black Lives Matter protesters are getting, and I also wonder too, like if we didn't have Black Lives Matter protests and people talking about COVID disproportionately affecting Black people, I also wonder how big these anti-mask protests would have been. I think a lot of people got caught up in the spirit of just like a protest in general. And so I think even, white voters here and abroad seeing, the Black Lives Matter protests needed something to glom onto. So I think that's also a possibility there where like the same way that you have, and this is me just speculating, the same way that you have these all lives matter protests, I think the anti-mask protest is a bit of a reaction to the criminal justice protests that we've been seeing over the summer.
I think you're 100% right. I think that everybody wants to be a part of a movement, and white conservatives want to feel like they're these rebels against the government. And so they found a very limited way to kind of do that while effectively following everything that Trump and the Republicans want them to do. I think you're 100% right. Yeah, if not for the BLM protests, maybe not. But yeah, so frustrating. So many lives lost needlessly. Check out the Damage Report podcast each day, wherever you get your podcasts, whether Pocket Casts or Stitcher or iTunes. You can join me as I give you the news and stories you want, with a range of co-hosts and interview guests jumping in on the fun each day. Again, that's the Damage Report, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you get them at iTunes, don't forget to rate and review. Sometimes I'll read them live on the show.